Remember opening your lunchbox in the 1980s? The clank of the metal lid, the smell of a freshly packed sandwich, and that one snack you couldn't wait to trade with your best friend. Back then, lunch wasn't just a meal, it was an event, a daily ritual that told the story of who we were, what we loved, and how simple joys could make a school day feel like an adventure. Today, we're taking a trip back in time to the bright colors, bold flavors, and sugary surprises that define an entire generation. These weren't just snacks. They were status symbols, conversation starters, and sometimes even playground currency. So grab your favorite thermos, zip up that Trapper Keeper, and let's dive into 25 old-school lunchbox foods every 80s kid remembers. Smooth transition to first point. Let's start with the ultimate king of the lunchbox, the one sandwich that could turn any ordinary day into something special. PB&J sandwich. If there was one sandwich that ruled every lunchbox in the 1980s, it was this one, sweet, sticky, and perfectly simple. The peanut butter and jelly sandwich isn't just a food, it's an American tradition. Born out of necessity in the early 20th century, PB&J became a household staple by the mid-century, thanks to its affordability and convenience. By the 1980s, it wasn't just common, it was iconic, found in almost every kid's lunchbox across the country. It was a perfect blend of sweet and salty, soft and chewy. Parents loved it because it was cheap and easy. Kids loved it because it tasted like comfort. And let's not forget the fun of choosing your favorite bread, your favorite jelly, grape, or strawberry, and spreading that creamy or crunchy peanut butter just right. PB&J wasn't just food. It was a personal expression. But here's the thing. Back then, no one talked about peanut allergies. Today, a PB&J in a school cafeteria could get you in serious trouble. In the 80s, it was everywhere, and no one thought twice about it. It's a reminder of how much times and lunchrooms have changed. And while PB&J ruled the sandwich game, sometimes it wasn't the main attraction. It was a sweet little surprise tucked next to it. Let's talk about a snack that was as colorful as it was unforgettable. Fruit Roll UPS. Opening your lunchbox in the 80s and finding one of these? Instant jackpot. Bright colors, sweet flavor, and the freedom to play with your food. Fruit Roll UPS hit the shelves in 1983, marketed as a fun and fruity snack for kids. It was part of a bigger trend in the 80s. Snacks weren't just about eating anymore. They were about fun. Bright packaging, wild flavors, and interactive ways to eat turned simple food into an experience. Fruit Roll UPS gave kids the feeling of getting a candy, but parents thought they were giving a fruit snack. Spoiler alert, they weren't exactly health food. Kids loved them because you could peel, stretch, twist, and even share little pieces with your friends. It wasn't just about taste. It was about creativity. And let's be honest, who didn't roll them into a giant sticky ball and shove the whole thing in their mouth? The commercials told us to unwrap the fun, and for an entire generation, that's exactly what we did. But here's the crazy part. These things had almost no actual fruit in them. They were basically pure sugar, artificial colors, and a splash of corn syrup. Yet, in the 80s, that was considered a perfectly acceptable snack. And for us, it wasn't just a snack. It was a lunchbox upgrade. Of course, if you had a fruit roll-up, you were cool. But if you had this next snack, you were a legend. It wasn't just a treat. It was an activity in a cup. Capri Sun, that shiny silver pouch. Cold to the touch, impossible to puncture without a fight, and oh so refreshing. Capri Sun wasn't just a drink. It was a status symbol. Capri Sun originated in Germany in the 1960s, but didn't hit the U.S. mainstream until the 1980s. By then, it was marketed as a fun, outdoorsy drink for active kids. Thanks to those bold commercials of kids surfing, biking, and having the ultimate 80s adventure. The packaging was everything. That metallic pouch looked futuristic, way cooler than a boring juice box. And the tiny yellow straw gave an almost space-age feel. For parents, it seemed healthier than soda, so it earned a spot in countless lunchboxes. Opening a Capri Sun was an event. You'd carefully jab the straw into that little hole, if you were lucky and didn't go straight through the back. And when you finally got a sip of that fruity, icy goodness, it felt like a reward. It wasn't just juice. It was a badge of coolness. If you had Capri Sun at the lunch table, everyone noticed. But here's the secret most of us didn't know as kids. Capri Sun wasn't nearly as healthy as we thought. Loaded with sugar, it was basically liquid candy in a shiny bag. And yet, we didn't care. Because for an 80s kid, that silver pouch was pure happiness. Today, Capri Sun still exists, but if you were there in the 80s, you know the thrill of pulling one out of a metal lunchbox on a hot day. And speaking of lunchbox legends, if Capri Sun was the ultimate drink, this next snack made kids feel like miniature chefs. It wasn't just lunch. It was lunch you could build yourself.